how long does it take if someone were to, say, we're committed to this, we really want to take things up to that level of proficiency? Is it a 2 week, 3 months, a year to get this to the point where they feel comfortable using it in practice?
Sure. What we find is there's always a bell curve of adoption, like any application. You'll have the overachievers that stay extra overtime and
don't
customize.
Sleep till it's up and running.
Exactly. Then you've got those that are perhaps a little less tech savvy and not those early adopters, and a large portion in the middle. And what we do in partnering with Nuance Professional Services in delivering training and deployment strategy services is we want to take that bell curve and shift it to the right. So the adoption curve, we want to take those users who would be basic users and help them to become super users more rapidly. So we do that by an initial workflow analysis, taking a look at how they're documenting today, how they'll be documenting in the future using Dragon and their EMR. Take the two applications, dovetail them together, and then bundle that into a training plan. Deliver the training by our trainers who are EHR specialists and experts in the EHR as well as Dragon. And we start with classroom-based training, followed by go-live support, and then even an optimization touchback training. So with that type of thoughtful deployment strategy, the adoption is very straightforward. Now, you're still going to have that spectrum of users, and that's where some of the other technologies and solutions that Nuance is working on are so exciting. So they've got eScription in the background, they've got, which will be tying into Dragon with a variety of different applications, so that there are solutions to cover that entire spectrum. But what we're going to see over time is a migration toward front-end speech. So with physicians today being used to picking up the dictaphone and dictating, and a human transcriptionist creating that document, we're going to see more front-end speech being adopted, and then tools such as clinical language understanding, taking that free text data and dredging the structured data out of it. That's going to allow the driving of clinical decision support, as I was talking about earlier.
Right.
Today that requires templated documentation systems, which are not as user-friendly. But in the future we'll see that physicians will be documenting more in free form.
Highly interactive.
Exactly. These solutions all tie in together to make the user experience more straightforward and the utility of these applications more effective for the physicians. That just leads to higher adoption rates and greater likelihood that an organization will achieve meaningful use.
What advice would you give to a practice that was thinking about this, but they've only heard, the top layer? Should there be some steps that they go through before they even speak to you, for example, get some information ready, think about it in a certain way, or just pick up the phone and say, let's get going and dive in?
In years past, Dragon was more of an off-the-shelf type application. Pick up a few copies for a small practice, install it, give it a shot. A few things have happened. The technology has advanced dramatically. So now Dragon is 99% accurate out of the box. Without any training, I can dictate 2 paragraphs of text, and it may make 1 or 2 very small errors that are easy to correct. That's honestly more accurate than we see with a transcriptionist.
I believe it.
Okay. So also the ability to edit that in real time, front end, once and done, where the physician dictates a document, creates that document, edits and signs it, and they're done. They don't see it later in their inbox. It's immediately available for coding and communication to other providers. So those are some of the key benefits with front-end speech, and we're truly seeing a migration in that direction. So the technology has come about, but also the approach to deployment has changed as well. So there's been an evolution of the deployment strategy for Dragon. As I said, it used to be, let's grab a few copies and go.
Do it yourself, basically.
Right. With the recent release of Network Edition, it's truly now an enterprise-level application. There are multiple features that are extremely helpful to the IT administrators, such as the central management of the application, security level management, user level preferences, optimization tools to fine-tune the accuracy.
So
and all
it's a
sorts
scalable tool now.
It is. Exactly right. So it's much more feasible to manage hundreds and thousands of users in a large organization than it used to be in the past with these new tools. On the front end, to the users, there's also a neat technology called vSync. And what that is vSync is a small little applet that runs in the background on the Citrix server, communicating back to Dragon and orienting it to what's happening on the Citrix server. So what that allows is, it's actually a dramatic step forward for the users. It allows full text control now, meaning I can select text, I can use bracketed variables, I can do all sorts of fancy stuff, even in the Citrix environment now with the Network Edition. So there have been some dramatic leaps forward in terms of the technology. But also, as I was saying, the approach. So it's now more about, let's customize the deployment of Dragon into the user's specific environment and how they'll use it. And that has to do with the EMR applications themselves. So whether it's structured or unstructured documentation, whether it's Cerner or Epic or Allscripts or whatnot. And tailoring the specific preferences and the content within Dragon to fit that department and that user makes all the difference in terms of adoption. So we've put together some really neat tools to help with that content management that work right into the Dragon and EHR workflow. And so it's really very exciting to see the developments and the skyrocketing adoption rates in terms of Dragon utilization.
I would think this would save a lot of time for a physician and also help the patient in terms of getting benefits when everything is coded right from the get-go, and it sounds like a win in every direction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the real-time documentation has so many benefits to the patients. The benefits of real-time documentation include immediate communication. So let's say there's a patient who's coming out of the operating room and the physician in the past would pick up the dictaphone and dictate an operative report or an immediate post-op note, and that would not be communicated to the ICU nurse until it was transcribed by a person some hours later. So now when they're dictating using front-end speech recognition, it's immediately available to the next level of clinician, be it the ICU nurse, the attending physician, whatnot, and then it's also immediately codable, so that decreases the days and accounts receivable.
Sure.
And all of the financial benefits as a result.
Is there support for mobile platforms? And now that we see these arising so quickly, the iPhone, iPad, all these other things that might conceivably be used as a data entry point as well.
Right, absolutely. So there's a generally available Dragon Dictate on the iPhone. There's Dragon Medical Search. There are a number of other applications in the mobility space that are tying into the EMRs, and going forward, all of these solutions will be connected. So Nuance has taken a very impressive approach to the coordination of multiple solutions and the integration of multiple solutions, because they recognize that it's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. That a large organization will have a variety of subspecialists that have different workflows. They will have a spectrum of ages and tech savviness, if you will, of physicians and interest toward adoption. So in an ideal world, we'd have 100% adoption of front-end speech recognition and once and done for everybody. But we all know that's not going to be the case. It will be a transition toward that. So in the meantime, we need back-end speech, we need Dragon on mobile applications or mobile devices, and a variety of solutions that all need to be coordinated.
Well, Reid, I want to thank you very much for your overview and the details on this. I think for some people it's going to be a very new thing. Others have been using it, but it sounds like as the technology speeds up its sophistication, it just translates to easier in every which way. It's a very exciting future, and it's been delightful speaking with you.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.